consulted the features of the middle-aged man who sat opposite. He had fallen asleep, head resting against the window, an empty seat separating him from a young woman who appeared to be deeply involved in a magazine. From her fresh complexion and fashionable clothes, Nell put her at 23, perhaps 22. At least a full half-decade younger than herself. As she watched the young woman, Nell became aware that every so often the magazine dipped, and the woman peered at her over the top of the pages. Nell looked at the cover of the publication and held in a groan. It was the latest edition of Tatler. A photographer from their staff had been at a party she had attended the previous week. The woman lowered the magazine. "It is you, isn't it?" she said, turning a page for Nell to see herself captured in black and white. She was on the periphery of a group, her head turned to the side. On finding herself in the line of sight of the photographer, she had taken evasive action. But the manoeuvre hadn't been quick enough to hide her face. "Yes, I rather suppose it is," Nell said. She was rarely recognised, being something of an also-ran in the publishing world and notoriously camera-shy. "I hope you don't mind me saying, but I adore your books. I mean, I really do adore them," the woman smiled. "That's very kind." Nell gave the woman her well-rehearsed smile. "You wouldn't mind, would you?" The woman slipped a book and pen from her bag. "I brought it to lend to my friend, Betty. Can you make it out to Gladys? That's me," she added, almost shyly. Nell took the book, Miss Derbyshire's Conundrum. It was her second book, and Miss Derbyshire of the title was a society gal, her conundrum being that she had been entrusted with delivering a diamond necklace to a cousin in Boston in order that she might wear it on her wedding day. Miss Derbyshire's plans had come perilously close to being thwarted by a dastardly and light-fingered head waiter on a transatlantic voyage until a dashing American hero stepped in to save the day. He was the heir to an oil fortune and the owner of a square jaw and an aquiline nose. There was a dashing hero in both of Nell's books and in her handful of short stories. They were not always American. They could just as easily be a French duke, a Prussian count, or, at a pinch, an English gentleman farmer. Just the type of man her mother would be happy for her to settle down with so that she might give up this silly writing lark. Nell unscrewed the lid of the pen. Her family would certainly not have approved of the most recent candidate for the role of her leading man. An artist recently graduated from the Slade, whom she had met at the book launch for another of Robert's authors. In their final, terse conversation at the Café Royal, he had accused her of being spiky, like a conker in its shell, so desperate to protect whatever was beneath that she used her barbs to repel any man who dared get too close. Nell bent the spine of Gladys's book and scraped some words onto the title page. With a final jab, she added a full stop to the signature, Margot Evangeline. Her real Christian name was too pedestrian for her publisher, and her surname, Potter, too reminiscent of that worthy lady in the Lake District with a penchant for rabbits and squirrels and ducks in bonnets. "I've read both of your books and all of your short stories," Gladys said, and smiled when Nell handed Miss Derbyshire and her conundrum back to her. "Really?" Nell had to resist the urge to grab Gladys by the shoulders and shake her, instructing her to take herself immediately to the nearest library to borrow some Hardy or Dickens, even Fielding would do. Gladys glanced at the typewriter in the luggage rack above Nell's head. "Are you writing a new book?" she asked. Nell smiled again, attempting to look as friendly as possible. It was eager young...